Uh, Maybe just a little bit of a side question. I've heard a lot about juice jacking recently. In my opinion, I'm not going to give my opinion yet, but I would love to hear your opinion on it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So then one thing real quick too, actually. So the button that's on here, it actually only turns it on and off from arming mode by default. You can actually overwrite that programming. So the rubber ducky now comes with certain logic. So you can make it so when you press the button, certain things happen, maybe stage 2 or whatever else.
So you
Now,
can deploy multi-stage payloads, basically.
right, and have some logic in your deployment in a quick, scalable way. Correct? Yeah, yeah. Now, so
Sounds
as
good.
far as the juice jacking, right? And if you guys don't know what that is, basically, juice jacking is where they were basically accusing hackers of putting, like, so again, this is the OMG plug, basically putting the same hardware that's in here inside of like charging ports at like airports and whatnot, and making them so they're malicious and warning people, hey, don't plug your phone in. Okay. Um, It's so beyond utterly ridiculous. The whole thing. It's fucking ludicrous. The whole entire thing. For one,
Such fear-mongering.
nobody is doing that under 24 surveillance of cameras. Like they used airport terminals as the example, right? So that's on them, right? If you wanted to use something else, an example, you could have done that, but you used airport terminals. Nobody is doing that under 24/7 surveillance. Like it's just not happening. And then two, again, this is just a keyboard. That's all that it is. It's just a keyboard, right? So every single phone that you could possibly plug into it is different. The menus are different, right? All this can do is press certain keys in a certain order with certain pauses in between each one, right? So every phone is different. The timing is different. New phones are faster. The timing can be quicker. Older phones take forever, which means if it messes up one single keystroke in the order of 50 to 60 of them, the whole thing fails. And that's assuming it even knew the difference between iOS and Android. And then on top of that, it still has to have like power. It still has to have power and data pass through, because if they plug it in and their phone doesn't charge, they're going to unplug it and walk away. And they're going to be looking directly at their phone when they plug it in to see if it's charging, which is when the payload would activate. So they'd be watching it activate. And like phone payloads, they can take like 30, 40 seconds, a minute and a half. So are they just like plugging it in and looking at their phone to see if it's charging and they see all that stuff happening and they do nothing? Sure, you could put a delay at the beginning, right? Or something like that. But that's a lot of assuming that they're not sitting there at the bench on their phone looking directly at it. Like it's wild. The whole thing is blown out of proportion. And then you have to exfil the data, or someone has to come remove the device to get it off of it locally. One of the two. So like the whole thing is fucking wild. Just absolutely wild.
Thank God.
Just garbage. Just fucking garbage.
Yeah, it's huge fear-mongering, and the best reference I can find is some DEF CON. Like there was a booth in DEF CON years ago. I'm talking 10, 11 years ago, where they set up a booth. If you plug in your phone, it would give you a message like, don't plug in your phone into random shit and stuff like that. But security was so much laxer these days on phones as well. And you didn't have that, oh yeah, I trust my computer thing. Like that shit didn't happen. Because that's what they're saying as well. It's not just that this is a keyboard, they're saying that this is going to hack your device by doing all kinds of crazy shit. But yeah, like you say, it's typing. It's literally
I
emulating
mean,
you.
I mean, like if they ever pulled something, just to be clear, I guess I'm gonna cover the weird use case, I guess. Like if we're just gonna be super honest or whatever it is, like if if the company who was behind building the terminals that went into the airport and they partnered with a hacker group who installed them beforehand somehow, and you see how like crazy that is. Like I was trying to throw a bone
Yeah.
there, but like it's just, yeah, the whole thing is like it's ludicrous. Like there are ways to like turn this into an implant instead of a USB technically, sort of, but how do you get like data pass through and power with the implant on a terminal you don't have access to on the inside. That, well, you know what I mean? It's just the whole thing is wild, to be honest.
Yeah, and let's be honest, nobody's interested in your dick pics, so you're safe.
Right. That's the other thing. Like, average users really aren't targeted often. You know what I mean? I don't want to say it's not a thing, but like that level of attack, you know what I mean? It's not, that's a lot of effort to go for random hits on random people. Like, I don't know. Yeah. No, the whole thing's just ridiculous, to be honest.